Well, quite the light show getting underway at the Eden Arena in Prague tonight. Southeast of the famous Old Town, Arsenal are in Champions League action. Live on Talksport 2, let's hear from Mikel Arteta, who's had to tinker slightly with his starting 11 tonight. He is not underestimating Arsenal's opponents.
That's a situation that we've been dealing now for a few weeks, and trying to have the right freshness, the right cohesion within the team. The team has been competing really well in all different competitions, and tomorrow we know that we have a really tough match here. They are unbeaten here at home all season. Is a team that they are very used to playing together. They have a very clear philosophy. They create a massive atmosphere as well, so we know there's going to be a really tough match.
Yeah, they've had a busy fixture schedule of late. Arsenal, 5 games in 15 days, and in fact he's been speaking about the League Cup quarter-final against Crystal Palace, which is now going to be played 2 days before Christmas, 2 days after Arsenal's Premier League game on the 21st of December. So this big squad is going to really be needed, Scott Minto, as the two teams take to the field in Prague.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to feel sorry for them with the big depth in the squad that they've got. This is what it was all about, and I wouldn't be surprised, Joe, that he might make another up to 10 changes. The only thing I'd say is in that particular game is I actually think Crystal Palace, even though they've got their own fixture problems, will go very strong in that game, and they were quite a little bit lucky against Brighton, but that's what it's all about, top teams in the top competitions.
Well, it's one of the great anthems in the history of sport, the Champions League anthem, in a year where Arsenal hope finally they will reach the summit of European club football. Is it Arsenal's year for glory in the Champions League for the first time ever? It's been far too long for a club of their stature. A reminder of the two teams: Arsenal, Raya in goal, Timber, Gabriel, Saliba and Hincapié, Waneri, Norgard and Rice, Saka, Marino and Trossard. And for Slavia Prague, Markovic continues in goal. The second choice is impressed of late. Vilcek, Chalupek, Zima, the defenders, Moses and Mbodji, the wing-backs, Zafiris and Shadilek in midfield, Probod, Chori and Sanyang are the front three. A massive week of European football on the network tonight. Tottenham against Copenhagen at 8 o'clock on Talksport. Tomorrow, Qarabag against Chelsea, Newcastle against Athletic Bilbao, Man City against Dortmund on the network, and on Thursday in the Europa League and the Conference League, Sturm Graz against Nottingham Forest, Villa take on Maccabi Tel Aviv, Palace play host to RZ Alkmaar. Best way to be across it, just download our free app and then you can swipe between our stations at your leisure. The two captains head-to-head in the centre circle. Bukayo Saka with the honour of wearing the Arsenal armband tonight, and Lucas Probod is the skipper of Slavia Prague. Scott Minto, quick word on Miles Lewis-Skelly. Not included in the starting 11 tonight. He is on the bench, but how concerned is he going to be for his England prospects?
Yeah, I'm concerned for him. I really like him. I really want him to be playing regularly for Arsenal, and if he does, then I think he'll be playing regularly for England. But it is slightly worrying that not only is Calafiori seemingly in front of him, but Hincapié is now as well. So, look, it's a long season. You never know what can happen. We talked about how the squad is going to be used in the month of December and beyond as well. All he can do is, when he does play as well as possible. But I think he's a really talented kid, and I want to see him, as I say, not just in the Arsenal team, but in the England one as well.
Well, it's a spectacular arena, this. The biggest stadium in Czechia. It only holds 19,500 or so, but it's atmospheric, and there are great memories here for Arsenal's Declan Rice, who lifted the Conference League trophy, of course, with West Ham on this ground in 2023. Arsenal players have got into a huddle ahead of kick-off. They're in the change kit tonight, the dark blue. The summit of football in Europe and the summit of Arsenal ambitions this season to go all the way in the Champions League. The next step on what they hope will be the road to Budapest at the end of May in 2026. 3 wins from 3 in the league phase. Another victory tonight would go a long way to making sure that they are in the knockout stages automatically, which is highly significant, not only in terms of automatic progress, but in terms of managing a busy fixture schedule even for a club with a squad of Arsenal's quality. And they get the game underway from right to left in the first half. Declan Rice in possession straight away down the left wing, and he's nipped in between two of the Slavia Prague players. Slavia in the hard shirts tonight, one half red, one half white shorts and red and white socks, playing from left to right in the first period, and Arsenal attacking the home end in the first half, which is packed with Slavia Prague supporters, tifos, huge flags, and they're all on their feet behind the goal to the left-hand side. It's about 10 degrees in the air and getting cooler as time goes on. Long throw into the penalty area by Norgard for Arsenal in the first minute, headed away at the near post, drops out to Norgard again to scoop it into the box, but Bukayo Saka is up there, so too is William Saliba, and then hit from the edge of the area, just wide. I think that was Gabriel with a fizzer of a half volley from right on the edge of the 18-yard box. He'd stayed forward the centre half, he took it brilliantly, a screamer, and only a couple of yards wide of the near post of the goalkeeper Markovic. Slavia Prague 0, Arsenal 0, but Arsenal nearly in front with a spectacular goal in the first 90 seconds. Now they've got defending to do. Provod inside right with a low shot, and I think Raya had it covered. It's gone behind for a goal kick. Entertaining start, goalless. Here's Scott Minter.
No, he definitely had it covered, David Raya, but if this is how the game is going to be for the whole 90 minutes after the first 90 seconds, then I'll take this. I think most neutrals will as well. And Gabriel's probably a bit bored of scoring with his head, wouldn't he? So on the edge of the box, he thought, why not have a strike? It was almost top corner.
When I saw him score a similar goal against Manchester United last season in the FA Cup. Now Leandro Trossard for Arsenal. Left corner of the 18-yard box, infield onto the right foot, then checks back onto the left, away from the defender, wide to Pierre Hincapié to fizz a ball high and overhit and out of play for a goal kick. Thumbs up from the head coach of Slavia Prague, Jindřich Trpšovský, who has been in charge since 2017, wearing a white baseball cap on the near side touchline. Got a really poor record in the Champions League. Slavia, as we were saying before the game, no win in 14 matches, but they are top of the Czech First League. They are unbeaten in that time, albeit plenty of draws of late. Maybe most significantly, just like Arsenal, very solid defensively. It may be Arsenal with an even better defensive record. They've won their last 7 without conceding a goal, but Slavia are not far behind them. 5 straight clean sheets, Scott.
Yeah, it's a Scrabble winner, that one, isn't it? Jindřich Trpšovský. Mikel Arteta, not so much.
You don't mind me saying we got through it okay.
You did very well indeed there, Joe. But no, I likened them to almost the Arsenal of the Czech League, and of course they're not. You know, it's one thing to keep 5 clean sheets in the Czech League. It's another thing to do what Arsenal are doing in the most toughest league in the world, and 3 wins out of 3 in the Champions League as well. And that's why, look, Mikel Arteta, what an amazing start to the season it would be if in the next 2 games going into the international break they can win here, so it'll be 4 wins out of 4 in the Champions League, and you know, they go and win at Sunderland. Of course, Liverpool are playing Manchester City as well, so they could be as much as 8 points ahead of City and 9 ahead of Liverpool after just 11 games. That would be a sensational start, and that's why he's picked a pretty strong side tonight.
And the other game in the Champions League in terms of the early kickoffs tonight, Napoli 0, Frankfurt 0, and here on Talksport 2 at 8 o'clock we've got a big game for you from the Championship as the leaders Coventry host Sheffield United. The ball is on the Slavia Prague right hand side. Provod, 6'2", big front man, plays it out to the right hand side, and chasing is Sanyang. Across comes William Saliba for Arsenal, lime green boots on in that dark blue change kit for Arsenal. He's hoisted it high and away upfield to the midway point of his own half, then headed by Hincapié. A very physical team are Slavia Prague, and Chori, 6'6", whips in across from the right hand side. That is cut out not entirely convincingly by Saliba, and now it's come back to Moses, the wing back, down by the corner flag on the near side of the field. Little back heel and across from Provod in towards Chori at the near post, and the rebound is hit towards goal, and Chori's there again from an angle, and David Raya turns it behind, but I think the flag was up anyway. No fear in Slavia Prague in these early stages. The atmosphere is absolutely tremendous, and you can see exactly why Mikel Arteta gave full respect to Slavia with his team selection tonight. Still 0-0.
Absolutely. I mean, Chovry offside in the end there, but there's no doubt about it. They're looking to try and attack as early as possible. Don't care who they are or where they're from. You come to Prague against Slavia and they're going to be absolutely at it. And I think from Arsenal's point of view, it's the proverbial your way home performance, isn't it? Try and quieten the crowd if you can. Best way to do that is to score a goal. If you can't do that, but at least try and control the tempo of the game in midfield. And at the moment, they're doing neither.
Never beaten Arsenal, Slavia Prague. Once lost 7-0 to them at the Emirates back in 2007-2008, which was their first ever Champions League campaign. Theo Walcott, Fabregas, Kleb, Bentner, and an own goal on the score sheet for Arsenal. There were braces for both Walcott and Fabregas that night. Hincapié with an Arsenal throw, shy of the halfway line, long up the left-hand side. Marino can't bring it down, and then Saliba backing off as Sanyang wings possession. 25 yards out dead centre, good work by Jurrien Timber tracking back. And just some momentary hesitation by Saliba there. And here is Sanyang again, out on the far side, the left wing for Slavia Prague. A really intense, high-energy start from the home team in the first 6.5 minutes.
Absolutely, just about to say it's been a really good start from Slavia Prague, trying to put Arsenal under pressure. And even when Arsenal sort of defend it, they're looking up, they're under pressure, they're just kicking it long. And the ball's coming back again. No one's holding it up at the moment. Whatever you say about Gyökeres, and perhaps he's no Erling Haaland and will never be, at least he holds the ball up a little bit better. And Mikel Merino absolutely needs to act as that number 9 and try to give them a little bit of respite.
Chalupek with a long looping throw, poorly delivered, headed away by Bukayo Saka at the near post for Arsenal. Close to where 1,000 travelling supporters are watching the action unfold, but it's Slavia on top of the moment, and a shot that is driven in from distance, a long way out. Yusufa and Bodji, fully 35 yards from goal, central position, and it swerves well wide in the end. But an aggressive opening to this game from the home side, and it does feel like a night where Arsenal might have to face some rare defensive threat. They haven't kept 8 successive clean sheets since 1903, and that is the very proud Arsenal club record. 0-0 here tonight.
I'll tell you what I find interesting just in the first 7.5 minutes, though. We know that William Saliba is bordering on world-class, if not a world-class defender, but he's finding the physicality of Churi up front really, really difficult, and he's dropping off all the time. And if Churi just stands still, he's actually got time to bring the ball down and either lay it off or turn if he wants to. So it's unusual to see Saliba or Gabriel not right close to one of the centre-forwards, or the only centre-forward of the opposition.
Churi has brought it down well. Huge front man, 6'6", and very powerfully built, broad shoulders. And Trossard now deep inside his own half for Arsenal, under some pressure from the onrushing Mbodji, who commits a foul, and that'll be a free kick to Arsenal in their left back position on the near side of the field. 0-0 the score on Talksport 2. Trossard shoved to the ground, and that's an obvious free kick. Is this the best Arsenal squad that there has been since certainly the Invincibles, and maybe before that, Scott Minter?
And I mean, look, we'd have to sort of sit down and almost go through it player for player, but look, it may not be the best team that Arsenal have ever had. I mean, you've got to win trophies and on a regular basis to talk about that, but in terms of squad depth, I can't think of a better Arsenal squad ever in my lifetime anyway. But it's all about winning trophies. It's all very well having a deep squad, and Mikel Arteta knows it's been a brilliant start to the season. And as I say, in the next 2 games could get even better, especially with Liverpool playing City. But it's all about what happens at the end of the season. So this is about setting yourselves up and see if they can maybe even extend the lead over the next couple of months, and that would be absolutely sensational. But he has to. I'm not saying he's got to go if he doesn't win a trophy, but he knows there's absolutely massive pressure. Even if he just wins the Carabao Cup, there'd still be massive pressure on him to say that's not enough.
Arsenal take a set play short, which is quite unusual, but maybe it's a bit of respect to the amount of aerial ability in the Slavia Prague team, and a lot of height all throughout this home side, who are playing in the red and white tonight. Moses has won it back for them. Early ball over the halfway line, and Sanyang, who is got plenty of pace, is charging away down the near side touchline. Hincapié gets across and prevents the corner, has to whip it out of play for a throw to Slavia Prague. level with the 18-yard box, and it is still Arsenal 0, Slavia Prague 0 here at the Eden Arena in Czechia.
Well, they haven't quietened the crowd in the first 10 minutes, have they? It's been Slavia Prague all about them. And what was interesting, Declan Rice, he's just been sensational, and an incredible game against Burnley as well in all departments, and yet he tried to sort of run one of the players and he got doubled up on, gave the ball away, and I think even he knows they're in for a tough game tonight.
Well, you just wonder whether Slavia can keep up this high-octane approach over 90 minutes. It's one thing doing it for 10, but it'll be another thing entirely taking on this Arsenal side at such a high level of energy and intensity, Scott.
Well, if you're Slavia or anyway associated with Slavia Prague, you have to score within the first 20 minutes. I don't think they can keep this up, to be honest with you, and Arsenal will be better as the game develops.
Vilcek with another long throw, dealt with at the near post, and then a sliced effort off the left boot of the Greek Zafiris. It'll drop out to the far side, and the marauding wing-back Mbodji with an early cross. That took a double deflection, last touch off the tall Mbodji, and it'll be a throw to Arsenal, which Timber will take in the right-back position on the far side of the field. Slavia Prague 0, Arsenal 0, live on Talksport 2. This game is brought to you in partnership with TNT Sports, the home of European football. Headed by Mbodji, and there was a collision in the middle of the Arsenal half just a few moments ago, and the referee has come across to stop the game here. I think it was Chalupek who collided with Marino, and certainly the Slavia Prague player has come off worse, and the referee Aliar Agayev has decided to stop the game, and rightly so. I think they're both okay, they won't need any more treatment, and so play goes on. And Slavia Prague head coach Tripshovsky has described Arsenal as the best performing team in the world at the moment, and it is hard to disagree with that, Scott, as Arsenal win a free kick for an offside, 0-0.
Yeah, he's chosen his words carefully there, hasn't he? And I wouldn't say the most exciting team in the world, but I think they are the best performing team. And I just said about how there's pressure on Mikel Arteta. I really like him, by the way, from when he first took over and did what he did with Aubameyang and said, no, that culture's not good enough. He's turned things around for 3 years. People have said he's the bridesmaid, not the bride. I think they've come up against probably the best team the Premier League has ever, or the English football has ever seen, in that Manchester City side. And last season would have been really disappointing, but yeah, they've gone again. He's been backed. I think he's a really good coach. I think he's setting a really good culture. And this is the moment. This is the season.
Scott Minto, former West Ham and Chelsea defender, come up against Arsenal many a time in his career, with us tonight on Talksport 2. Norgard for Arsenal in the orange boots midway inside his own half.
I actually had the chance to sign for Arsenal.
Yes.
Under George Graham.
And it didn't quite happen in the end, but it was close, right?
To Chelsea.
I've heard this story before.
I spoke to George, and very charming guy, but he couldn't promise me first team football, and rightly so. So I went to Chelsea, and that's what I wanted.
Zafiris for Slavia Prague. Sweeping ball right to left out to the far side, and chasing it is Sanyang, who has held it up well in the tussle with Yuri and Timber. They're a physical team, Slavia Prague, but they have played some good stuff in these early exchanges. David Zima for Slavia gives it away to Timber, and now Arsenal maybe can break here with the deft Waneri, who skips away from a couple of challenges, finds Saka forward at the centre circle. The pace is remaining absolutely breathless here, and Arsenal actually perhaps would do well to slow the game down at this point and try and take some of the energy out of it.
That's exactly what they need to do. I mean, Saka's just come across the pitch because he hasn't touched the ball for 5, 6, 7 minutes, thinking, where's he been? Waneri also, Trossard we've seen a couple of times, and showed a little bit of skill, but there's no doubt about it in terms of controlling the tempo of the game. That comes from midfield, and it's Slavia Prague who have dominated.
And Arsenal get a free kick now for a foul on Norgard in the middle of midfield, about 10 yards into Slavia Prague territory. Nicolas Jaubert, the set-piece coach, is out to the edge of the technical area. As ever in these situations, it's dead centre for Declan Rice, and usually you'd say not a lot of angle to work with, but this is Arsenal, the set-piece specialists. As Rice goes short again, interesting, to Timber. Timber angles the ball out wide to the far side. Now here's Bukayo Saka in the position that he loves to be, level the edge of the area, infield onto the left foot, plays it backwards to Rice. Slavia have got everybody in red and white behind the ball. Quarter of an hour gone. Trossard infield now to Rice, about 25 yards from goal. On his left side, knocks it wide to Piero Hincapié, and he plays it backwards to Trossard again. Good quick feet to whip a high ball into the penalty area, headed away by Vilcek of Slavia Prague, and then a miscued clearance by Trossard, tried to knock it back over his own head, and he's being hassled and harried here by Moses, who was looking to win it back. Trossard eventually does enough. Arsenal throw near side in their left back position, and it is entertaining, no question about it. And maybe for one or two, a surprisingly tough and tenacious opening to this game put on Arsenal by Slavia Prague.
Yeah, I was listening earlier to the odds and saying that Arsenal's in everyone's acca, and I still fancy Arsenal to go on and win the game, but I didn't think it would be as easy as the odds were suggesting. And we talked about Slavia Prague and how difficult they can be at home, but what they do look, Joe, is they look really physically fit. And the question is, can they keep this up? If they keep this up for pretty much the 90 minutes, I don't think Arsenal will win this game. I just wonder whether they can, and Arsenal have to start taking control, even if it comes towards the second half.
And Marino now has dropped deep into his own half and pops it back to David Raya, all in green. Now Gabriel, Arsenal's ever reliable number 6. 12 unbeaten Arsenal, and they've won 9 in a row. 7 in a row without even conceding a goal. And 3 on the spin in the Champions League, again without conceding. The only English team in the history of the European Cup to win their first 4 matches of a Champions League season without conceding were Leeds United, that famous team of the late 60s, early 70s, 69-70 season to be precise. As Gabriel wins it back right in front to Mikel Arteta, but the referee's given Slavia Prague a free kick, and he's frustrated here, Arteta. I think he knew the free kick was coming. I don't know what you made of the body language there, Scott, what Mikel Arteta is trying to ask of his Arsenal players.
I think he was looking, you know, some of the ball plays the ball short, then go in behind. Someone's got to go in behind. Got to be careful. He might get a hair out of place, but
don't think that's likely, is it?
No, it's not. But no, look, you know, I joke, but I really do like him. And if I was a complete neutral, I'd want him to win the title because of the reason why he's came so close in the last few years, and he's trying to build this really good culture within the dressing room, not just on the pitch. Yeah, to be fair, he has been given the funds, he's been supported from above, and now it's time to go on and win it. And you do get the feeling, don't you? I mean, I look at this time last season, where Liverpool had perhaps a surprise start, and they just didn't let go. They just carried on and cracked on, and I can definitely see Arsenal doing this. I think Arsenal are stronger from a sort of organisational and defensive point of view than Liverpool were last season, even if they're more functional. I put my money more on Arsenal to do it than what Liverpool did last season, and Liverpool did do it in the last campaign. So it all bodes well. Just have to wait and see whether they can keep this going.
Gabriel being treated here, so too is Chori for Slavia Prague. Does seem a player with a bit of an edge to him, Thomas Chori. Gabriel's still down, Calafiori warming up for Arsenal here, so this is something of a concern. Of course, Arsenal have got Lewis Skelly on the bench as well, so they can swap Hincapié and Lewis Skelly around if they need to, but that is the only worry for Arsenal at the moment, are the injuries. As we welcome listeners from Talksport, 19 high-octane minutes have been played in Prague. It's Slavia Prague 0, Arsenal 0. Very high energy and high intensity from both sides. The home team trying to take the game to Arsenal, but more injury concerns here for Mikel Arteta as Gabriel is treated and now he's back up on his feet, and it looks as though he will be able to continue. What have you made of the opening 19 minutes here, Scott Minter?
Well, I've been really impressed by Slavia Prague, I have to say. Mikel Arteta has shown respect to Slavia with the team that he's picked. It's definitely a strong one, despite there being a few changes. In terms of midfield, I think Slavia Prague have absolutely dominated, and you wouldn't necessarily expect that. Not a shot on target from either side, but there's no doubt about it, Arsenal have been on the back foot.
Gabriel has gone closest for Arsenal so far. Saka with a 25-yard shot, and that is a shot on target, turned away well by the goalkeeper Markovic, who got a good early look at that. Saka, classic move, infield from the right-hand side, left-footed curler, trying to bend it into the bottom corner. There was a video that they released yesterday, Arsenal, on social media, with Saka whipping them into the corner in training. Didn't quite get the power behind that he would have wanted, but a good save nonetheless, 0-0.
That's a really good save, actually, from Markovic. And probably the second time in the whole game, Gabriel had a shot, didn't he, on the edge of the box that just went wide. The second time that Arsenal have got involved and really got into the final third and got a shot on target. First time for that.
Arsenal long throw towards the near post, and Gabriel, who is back on the field and is absolutely fine to carry on, by the way, after that injury. And it comes to nothing, at least initially, as Arsenal look to play the ball into the penalty area with Marino. Fouled by Ethan Nwaneri, and a free kick to Slavia Prague. The atmosphere is tremendous at the Eden Arena tonight. Arsenal starting to go into the game, but with 20 minutes gone, full commentary tonight on Talksport 2. It is Slavia Prague 0, Arsenal 0. And Napoli 0, Frankfurt 0 in the other game of the Champions League early kickoffs tonight, with plenty happening at 8 o'clock, including Liverpool, Real Madrid, PSG against Bayern Munich, and live on Talksport tonight, big game for Thomas Frank, Tottenham against Copenhagen. Thomas Frank, who could do with a home win and a good performance at home, you feel. Here on 2, we will be off to the CBS Arena for Coventry against Sheffield United. Looking forward to that with Ian Danter and Mark Albright. And you can have your say on all of the afternoon and evening's action on the Sports Bar from 10 on Talksport tonight. 03717 223344 to speak to Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy. Hincapié, high ball up the left-hand side from left-back for Arsenal. Great ball to Trossard, who races onto it. Can he cut it back across? He tries to. Defender pumps his fist after getting a clearance on that. Vilcek. There's a massive tifo behind the goal. I'm not sure how many Slavia Prague fans behind the goal actually saw that passage of play, but it is an Arsenal corner, I can tell you.
The tifo is so good. I don't think anyone did, to be honest with you.
They weren't bothering, were they? Apart from us.
Apart from the photographers as well, just in the very front row. But well, look, Arsenal have been poor, you have to say, in the first half. One shot on target so far, that coming from Saka, but great opportunity now with the corner and a set piece.
Well, it's that classic in-swinger, and everybody's gone to the back post, edge of the 6-yard box as we look at it. Near side of the field, so it'll be Declan Rice, right-footed from the Arsenal left. Slavia Prague 0, Arsenal 0 on Talksport 2. One arm up into the air from Rice, delivers into the 6-yard box. Goalkeeper tried to come for it. It's headed away from in front of him by the tallest player on the pitch, Tomasz Jury. And now Sanyang looking to break. He's hauled down, and that's a yellow card for Ethan Nwaneri, who put a very quick stop to that counter-attack. And right in front of the referee, and the young Arsenal man, the 18-year-old, is booked.
Yeah, it's a definite foul of that, there's no doubt. And he's brought Sanyang down, who's trying to counter-attack very quickly. And Ethan Nwaneri, let's just say it was almost like a Paul Scholes tackle, wasn't it? It's like, I can't be bothered to go anymore. I'm just going to bring you down and stop this attack now.
Oh, we saw Ethan Nwaneri score a beauty of a goal, didn't we, Scott, in the League Cup last midweek. Arsenal, of course, who followed that up with victory in the Premier League at Burnley over the weekend. Arsenal's next game is at Sunderland on Saturday, and then it really starts to get interesting. Home games against Tottenham and against Bayern Munich in the Champions League before a trip to Chelsea. And a packed December already for Arsenal, so we really will get the measure of them in the next 6 weeks or so. 0-0 tonight in Prague. And here is Declan Rice, bursting over halfway, early ball down the inside left. Saka is after it, beyond the defender. Saka, the angle is tight, gets the shot in. Goalkeeper turns it away, and then it's knocked behind by Mbodji. And maybe Arsenal, 24 minutes in, are starting to turn the screw now. Corner.
Yeah, I mean, that's because they won the ball back quickly, and then there was space in behind, and a really lovely little pass from Declan Rice. I mean, Saka, he does really well to get the shot in there, because Mbodji defends him. It looks like he's matching him for pace. He's bigger and stronger, and yet still somehow Saka gets the shot on target. Keeper can't hold it. Another corner for Arsenal.
A second in quick succession under the lights. Southeast of Prague's famous old town and the river. Delivered in by Rice to the near post, and Trossard got a glancing touch on it. Just the faintest of touches, I think. Norgard was in there too, and the goalkeeper scrambles across to turn it behind for another corner.
Yeah, it wasn't the best of corners there. The last one was, but it's just nipped in, and I think it was going to hit the post rather than go in. But Markovic, he's got to try and get there and just palm it out. Another attempt now.
Another chance for Rice. Another corner to Arsenal. Live on Talksport 2. Another delivery whipped in high to the back post this time. Good header away. Drops towards Saka on the volley. He's beaten to it by Moses. Little touch from Saliba. Flick to his left. Back to goal is Mikel Merino. Now Rice with an angled ball into the penalty area. And a flying header away. He's a bit frustrated with himself there, Chalupek, that it didn't go further away from goal. Has that gone out for a corner? At the very least, it's another throw. I think it will be another corner for us.
Yeah, I think it'll be a corner. It's almost like a 50-pence piece header. He's tried to head it forward. It's come off the side of his head. It's the last thing you want to do against a club and a team like Arsenal.
And again, they've flooded the 6-yard box with dark blue shirts in front of the goalkeeper. One of them is Gabriel. Again, Rice hoists the ball into the near post. Little touch by Trossard, and another heavier touch than the glancing one a few moments ago, but it's not enough to divert it goalwards. It's looped over the bar. Goal kick, and credit to Slavia Prague, who are able to withstand the Arsenal set-piece pressure.
Yeah, I mean, Trossard does well to get in front of the Slavia players. Shouldn't really, from a defensive point of view, allow an attacking player to do that. But it was the second corner that wasn't quite the best from Declan Rice. It was too short, and he's tried to flick it over Trossard, and in the end, he's flicked it over the bar.
A foul on Leandro Trossard with his back to goal. Just inside Slavia territory, the referee having a quick word with Zafiris, who's only got a couple of months left with Slavia Prague when he joins the Greek club PAOK on a permanent basis. But the foul was not committed by Zafiris. It was Vilcek who actually sent Trossard sprawling. No more action taken by the referee. Slavia Prague 0, Arsenal 0 in the Champions League live on Talksport 2. Here's an opportunity for Waneri, breaking between the lines, 25 yards out. Wide right is Saka, into the area. Low shot towards the near post, well saved again. Markovic has been in excellent form, the stand-in Slavia goalkeeper. That's why he's been given the nod tonight. And Saka tried to go near post and nearly squeezed it past him. It's another corner.
Yeah, it's gone through the defender's legs, and actually it wasn't going to go in, but the keeper doesn't know that. But it was a really good pass, started from Gabriel, split the lines to Ranieri, who played in Saka, and suddenly Arsenal on the front foot. Much better in the last 5 or so minutes.
Jakub Markovic is the goalkeeper. Saka to take an in-swinging corner from the right-hand side. Goalless on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever it is, they're here for it. Corner at the home end for Arsenal. Lots of dark blue shirts forward again. Everyone in red and white for Slavia. Back behind the ball, and the referee is just pointing towards Trossard, is he? Or might it be Saliba? He's calling over one of the defenders, Shadilek. And now we are ready for Bukayo Saka's corner. The Arsenal skipper with the bright yellow boots on. Here it comes, left-footed in, swinging into the near post. Gabriel with a header, and it's wide. Deflected onto the roof of the net in the end. And another corner given by the referee. That was vintage Arsenal.
Great ball in again. It really is from Bukayo Saka. I mean, Declan Rice is one of the best set-piece takers in the Premier League, but you can't do that from both sides. You need someone with the left foot, and Saka, there's no doubt about it, has stepped up, and his brilliant delivery that he's got there. And I mean, the keeper, if it's on target, he can't do anything about it because the delivery is so good.
Hit the back of Lucas Probod. 6th corner for Arsenal as we head towards the 30-minute mark. Everybody's at the back post again from an aerial point of view. Gabriel, Jurrien Timber, William Saliba, Trossard, Norgard and Merino. Good in the air. It's take your pick for Saka at this point.
It's going to the far post.
Referee's checking for a potential penalty.
Yeah.
And that's why the game is stopped, and there's a delay to the taking of the corner. So he's in communication with the VAR. Could Arsenal be about to get a penalty here half an hour in?
I didn't see it. Did you, Joe? I mean, the only thing I can say is the positive one is that we're in Slavia Prague's box. So if it is a penalty, it's going to Arsenal. But didn't see it at the time. It's not he's been sent over.
Well, it looks as though Arsenal are going to get a spot kick. Over goes the referee, Alia Agaev, and a potential penalty being checked by the official, who goes over to the monitor on the near side. Could it be for handball potentially? Gabriel with the header, and it does flick off the fingers of the man challenging him at the near post, Lucas Provod. Is that enough for a penalty though? The referee says it is! Penalty to Arsenal. Handball by Provod. What I have to say, was the arm really in an unnatural position there, or does it potentially prevent a goal? That must be the thinking of the referee. Arsenal have got a penalty kick in Prague. Would you believe it, Scott Minter?
Well, they're trying to claim it's come off his head and then hit his hand. But what I would say is, I don't think... I think it is a bit of an unnatural position, but I still think it's a harsh penalty to give, because when you jump, you have to put your arms in the air. But the fact that it was kind of head high, he can definitely claim, well, look, it's come off my head onto my hand. I've got no time to take it away. But I do think his arm shouldn't have been there in the first place. And look, once they get called over, they don't stick with their original decisions, do they? They do go with VAR.
Well, we're 31 minutes in, and it's certainly been better from Arsenal in the last 10 or so. They've worked their way into the game. They have a penalty kick in front of the home fans. And here goes the captain, Bukayo Saka. 12 yards out, favoured left foot. It'll be a short run up against the goalkeeper Markovic. Saka sticks it into the bottom corner. Goalkeeper gets right, but he couldn't stop it. Too much power and accuracy, and the skipper, Bukayo Saka, tucks it away very nicely for Arsenal. They'll take that 1-0 up in Prague.
Brilliant. I mean, what more can we say about this guy? He's just sensational. And he's Arsenal's best player. I mean, the biggest compliment I give Noni Madueke is that he's not a million miles away from him, but you want Bukayo Saka fit as much as possible. And then in these situations, the pressure situations, he steps up. It's a wonderful finish. There's no doubt about it. I wouldn't say Arsenal deserve to be in the lead, but what I would say in the last 10 minutes, they have been much better. And just on the penalty, I just want to kind of clarify. I do think it's harsh. I think it's really harsh. But to the letter of the law, the officials could argue his hand shouldn't be there in the first place. But from a defensive point of view, I'd be devastated to give that penalty away.
Well, there are hunts on the field, cheers in the stands, and congratulations on the technical area as well for Arsenal, the edge of the technical area, because set plays brought about the assist, you'd have to say. They certainly played their parts. Slavia couldn't withstand the flurry, and it's 1-0 to the Arsenal on Talksport 2.
With those odds of half-time Arsenal leading could well be spot on.
Well, they are 1-0 up through Bukayo Saka's penalty. Such good penalty that it almost hit the side of the goal, the side of the netting. Goalkeeper in excellent form, Jakub Markovic, guessed the right way, plunged to his left, but I don't think any goalkeeper would have saved that.
If you hit it with that precision, but also power, keepers can go the right way, but still have no chance.
Saka with an early ball in, reverse ball, lovely back heel by Waneri, but nobody on the same wavelength as the 18-year-old. Rice couldn't get there, and Slavia Prague hack it away. And Arsenal heading for a 10th straight win and an 8th game in a row without conceding a goal. 2 in 3 matches for Bukayo Saka in the Champions League. 2 in 2 overall. He scored in the League Cup from a rebound on in the game against Brighton, live on Talksport 2 last midweek. Suddenly it's all rosy again for Arsenal, and Slavia can't get the ball. Free kick, foul on Trossard. Midway inside his own half with 11 minutes of the first half to go. Long ball towards Saka on the diagonal, headed away by Mbocci. Not a great header, and he had to really track back there Sanyang to keep it in play. Back it goes to goalkeeper Markovic, and now out to the right-sided position is Chanupek. Early ball up to halfway. That's a foul on Lucas Provod. Norgard sticking out a leg. Foul by Christian Norgard, and Slavia look crossfield to the left-hand side where it's well controlled by Mbocci in a forward position. One-on-one with Timber. Early ball into the near post is deflected behind. Timber fuming with the referee about something. That'll be a throw to Slavia, about 5 yards from the corner flag. Scott Minto, 0-1.
He's a player I like, Jurriën Timber. Obviously really unfortunate when he first signed for Arsenal, had that serious injury and was out for a year, but I mean, he's just got everything that the modern day fullback needs. He's great defensively, really good one-on-one, he can get up and down, and he actually gets into the box and into midfield if need be as well.
Long throw high towards the near post. Saliba doesn't get there, and down went Chori, who is adamant that he should have a penalty. Referee adamant that most certainly that is not the right call. Chori still appeals, finger pointing from the referee towards the big front man, and he stopped the game here as Mr. Agayev. Tangle between Saliba and Chori, and there's nothing really in that. I mean, they're both at it, both grabbing onto each other. A tussle inside the penalty area. Don't think anything to see there, Scott.
No, there isn't. No, I mean, Chori's grabbing hold of him, and then Saliba, got to be careful because he did kind of grab him back, but it's absolutely 50-50. And then Chori, as soon as he got that initial little pull, he's gone down. Have to be careful. You know, 1-0 to the Arsenal. Mentioned George Graham earlier. And they're becoming a bit like that in terms of once they get that first goal, they're so difficult to beat. Cannot afford to give away any kind of mistakes in the box, especially the way the VAR overturned the penalty. You know, you would imagine that the referee, just in the back of his mind, especially with it playing in Prague, any kind of decisions, and they could get a decision against them.
Oh, Marino's lunged in with a foul on the far side, the right, and he's going to be yellow carded by the referee. And I just wonder whether the reaction of the fans and the Slavia players starting to surround the referee perhaps persuaded him to upgrade that to a yellow card there, because it didn't look as though he was going to book Marino at first glance. It was a poorly timed tackle on Sanyang, but he went rolling about to the ground, and then after a little pause, the referee does bring out the yellow card. I don't think that is a booking, Scott Minto. We've seen it again on the monitor, yes, but I think Sanyang, does he exaggerate that?
Well, I agree with you in the sense that the fans, I think, have just mentioned about any kind of possible decisions in the box. They've got to be very, very careful. But Marino's not got anywhere near the ball, Joe, and he's completely brought the player down.
And here they come again with a Bocci looping cross into the area, and that's really poor and really disappointing for Slavia Prague. The offside flag was up anyway, so it spares his blushes somewhat, but it was a way of a hit cross from a promising position. I mean, he's at least a yard or two offside there anyway, so it wouldn't have counted.
It's a good line that Arsenal held, but you're right, could do that. Well, and Bodji just kicked the ball straight behind the goal. It's a shocking cross.
Well, you infinitely more able than me, we should say. Former Premier League defender, Scott Minto.
To put the cross behind the goal. Yeah, I've done that a few times.
Former left back, so it's the left back union. And Bocci has lost out to Saka, and he slides in on Saka, wins the ball, then Marino nibs in on the right wing position. Jurriën Timber with a decent run forward, it's deflected into the path of Norgard. All this on the far side, the Arsenal right, reverse ball by Marino towards Timber, who clips it back across. Sliding in was the defender of Bocci. That'll be a corner. Lovely way to pass there from Marino to look for Timber. And Arsenal get their 7th corner, leading by a goal to nil on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Here for it, book now at enterprise.co.uk. 6.5 minutes of the first half to go, at least normal time, and here's Scott Minto again.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a tale of two parts to this half, hasn't it? Slavia Prague starting really well, and Arsenal coming into it. They're really turning the screw now. Lots of corners coming in from both sides. To get that second goal, then it's pretty much game over. For all their dominance in the first 20 minutes, though, Slavia Prague still haven't had a shot on target yet.
Saka standing over the ball for Arsenal. There are 5 players who've gone to the back post. Gabriel set to attack the corner from in and around the penalty spot. The 6-yard box is flooded as Saka delivers. High towards Gabriel, punched away by the goalkeeper. Drops to Aneri, hit by Trossard. Good block by Provo. Now Saka. Right corner of the area, onto the left foot, low shot and turned away by the defender. That was going through to the keeper instead. Good sliding challenge coming in now from Sanyang on Trossard. That is a corner. I think he did very well, the goalkeeper, to punch away that corner.
He did, and Sanyang did really well. I mean, you don't really want to be going to ground making a tackle in the box, but it's almost as if, yeah, it's a really good tackle in the end, but you're just giving away a corner to Arsenal. Don't give away another one. stay in your feet.
Ironically, despite the penalty coming from a set piece, they have generally done very well, it feels like. 8th Arsenal corner. What is it about Arsenal and these set plays? 1-0 up, Saka takes this one short. Declan Rice to the right of the edge of the D. Back out wide to Saka, trying to work it onto his favoured left foot. When he turns in the penalty area, onto the left foot here. Shot is blocked. There are enough players in red and white behind the ball there for Slavia Prague as Arsenal come again. We've had 40 minutes, 1-0 Arsenal lead through Saka's penalty. Waneri with a deep reverse ball, that's way over hit and behind for a goal kick. Why are they so good, Scott? And why can seemingly nobody stop them from set plays?
I mean, there's three things to it. I mean, one, first of all, it's about delivery. If the delivery's no good, it doesn't matter. You've got 8'10" people in the box. It doesn't matter. Second of all, you've got some really good people who are desperate to win the ball, and Gabriel obviously is the ultimate example of that. And thirdly, and I would put him third, Nicolas Joubert, he comes out every so often when there's a free kick or a corner.
Trossard delivers a cross in towards Marino at the near post, and well headed away by Zima coming across from the left-sided centre-half position. Arsenal a threat in open play there. Hincapié led with the edge of the area, back to Norgard, and now back to Gabriel. A much better from Arsenal in the last 20-25 minutes after a bright early opening from Slavia Prague. Saka going on the outside of the defender and Bodji. Now working onto his left foot. He eludes and Bodji, right corner of the area, stumbles. No foul. The ball is hacked upfield by Sanyang. No outlet for Slavia Prague. Arsenal get it back again, and from right to left they are suddenly dominating here. Saka's gone down and stayed down. That's a concern for Arsenal. And he stopped it here, the referee. It isn't a head injury, so he didn't actually have to stop it in fairness, but Arteta, ever expressive on the touchline, just watches as Saka slowly gets to his feet. There was nothing really in it, Scott.
No, I mean, first of all, Mbodji does really well because Saka always wants to come onto his left foot, and he stayed with him and then used his physicality, and he knocked him over. And I think as he was going over Saka's foot, I think he's twisted his ankle because he's flicked both legs of Mbodji, and Saka doesn't stay down for no reason. So he saw he's in a bit of pain, but just give it 30 seconds or so and then just run it off.
Well, that is exactly what Arsenal and Saka will do. 2.5 minutes of normal time remaining at the end of the first half. This is Talksport 2. Saka goes down again, barged into by Mbodji, whose flying header drifts out of play. Throw taken infield towards Saka once more. He can't keep his feet, and Bodji wins it back, and now striding forward into the Arsenal half. Lodges it left out to the far side, and Sanyang, who's crossing to the near post, is good. Gabriel clears it away for a corner on the volley.
Well, it's the first time in a long time that Slavia Prague have actually almost got behind Arsenal there. I do like Mbodji. I think he's done very well against Saka defensively. Tries to get forward when he can. Played the ball out wide. The ball's whipped in, and Gabriel just... Everyone used to talk about William Saliba, but Gabriel is, I think he's the captain of that defence for sure.
Well, Slavia Prague's great run of clean sheets, 5 in a row coming into today, is over. But can they really threaten Arsenal here from a set piece of their own? Chori, Cholupek, Zima, Provod and Bodji. Tremendous height in this Slavia team. Probably about as tough a test from set plays as Arsenal will have faced this season. Shadilek will take the corner in front of the Arsenal fans in one corner of the stadium, far side as we look at it. Here it comes from Shadilek, left-footed and out-swinging. Cholupek went for it, missed it. Provod can't reach the ball on the edge of the D, but Slavia keep possession. Near side with Zafiris, looking for the overlapping run of Provod again. Works it onto the left foot, the in-swinging cross charged down by Trossard. I don't think he had as much time on the ball there, Provod, as maybe he thought, but the work rate from Trossard sums up Arsenal's organisation.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of those. I think that's why he's in the side, Trossard. Not just what he does with the ball, but without the ball as well.
And then Zafiris slices a shot miles high up into the dark night sky, the floodlights, and behind for a goal kick to Arsenal.
What I would say is Slavia Prague had a corner there, and they went out swinging, where you see Arsenal and how good they are. They always try to do in-swinging corners. You know, left foot from the right foot from the left, and if they're whipped in with pace, all you need is the slightest of touches, and suddenly the keeper's got no chance. With the out-swinging corner, You need a proper powerful header, not just to rise above the defence, but a proper powerful header to get it in as well. So I'm surprised more teams, especially Slavia Prague, don't have the in-swinging corners.
We will be in North London tonight for Tottenham against Copenhagen over on Talksport at 8 o'clock. And here on 2, Coventry against Sheffield United. We'll preview that game shortly. 4 minutes of added time at the end of the first half. I suppose there have been a couple of stoppages, so 4 added minutes. And of course the most significant stoppage was that check by the referee for a possible penalty, handball by Provod, and Arsenal given the spot kick, which Saka put away very, very nicely. Napoli 0, Frankfurt 0 elsewhere in the Champions League tonight. The ball is with Saliba, long sleeve shirt, midway inside his own half. Arsenal from right to left, Norgard, and now Saliba again, shy of halfway. Suddenly crosses into opposition territory, but he's robbed of the ball by a sliding Sanyang. It's come back to Arsenal, and Marino with a square pass to Rice. Marino and Trossard quite fluid actually positionally. Marino had dropped deep for a moment, and now he's occupying that foremost forward role, and it's his ball out to the right towards Saka, sliding in his Mbodji out of play for an Arsenal throw. And they're quite comfortable now, Arsenal. Minute into 4 added at the end of the first half. No threat to David Raya ultimately, despite, as you said, Scott, all of the early intent from Slavia Prague. You feel they really had to get the first goal.
Yeah, they absolutely did. And we said about can they keep this up? Well, I think from a physical point of view, it's really difficult to do anyway. But if you go 1-0 down, from a mental point of view, that really does hit you, especially when you've almost dominated the side that is leading the Premier League at this particular moment. And I was looking at the first 20 minutes, and it was Slavia Prague with the late 50s in terms of possession. Now it's 60-40 to Arsenal, which shows how much they've dominated the last 20 or so minutes.
Bukayo Saka shuffling infield from the right, and he goes down, no free kick given. He was surrounded by a flurry of red and white shirts there. Zima came away with possession for Slavia Prague, but it's not really the player they want on the ball, the big centre half, and he can't keep it away on the left, and Arsenal win it back in their right full-back position. Halfway through the 4 added at the end of the first period on Talksport 2. And it's Arsenal who are 1-0 up. And no great surprise about that. Declan Rice on the halfway line for them. Square to Saliba. And now in the centre circle is Norgard, who is described by Mikel Arteta as an exceptional addition to the squad. Knows exactly what his role is. And aside from a spent out with injury, getting the best out of the former Brentford man so far.
Well, when you think about it, not only was he a regular in the Premier League of the last few years, but he was captain of his club. And he's gone to the fact, I was sort of watching him last week when he played in the Carabao Cup, and obviously he's playing again tonight, but he doesn't really play very often for Arsenal Football Club. It's, in many respects, you could see it as a step down because you're not playing the minutes. In many other respects, he's realising just how good Arsenal are and how good they can be over the next few years, and he wants a part of that.
Well, he is 31 now, the lure of Champions League football. Third start this for Arsenal for Christian Norgard. And first in the Champions League, Rice in the centre circle for Arsenal, squared to Saliba. Last 40 seconds of added time. 1-0 Arsenal lead. They don't need to force the issue here. Rice in possession.
The other thing I'll say about Norgard as well, I know for a fact that he's a really good guy in training, around training. He won't moan at all. He'll be at it 100%. He'll have a go at people if they're not, and that's the type of character Mikel Arteta needs.
Norgard 25 yards out with a low ball towards the edge of the box. It's swept clear by Vilcek upfield. Again, no outlet whatsoever for Slavia. It'll just keep coming back at them. They've only got a few seconds of the first half to survive now. Saliba slides it on halfway. Firm but fair, says the referee on the Slavia Prague man. And well, Arsenal nearly played themselves into trouble there. Has he given the free kick here? The referee has.
Yeah, he has. I think he did think it was firm but fair, and I think it was firm but fair. But yeah, Provod goes down, but that's happens in a tackle. And I think because the ball then fell to an Arsenal player, he's pulled it back. When it's either a foul or not, it doesn't matter where it goes. I don't think it was a foul. But there's no doubt about it, Saliba just...
It's a great tackle.
Yeah, it's a great tackle, but he took his eye off the ball. just before that and let it run a little bit. So, a mistake that I think was rectified, but now we're literally, must be seconds. We're over the 4 minutes of injury time. Chance for Slavia Prague to equalise.
Nearly played 5 added in the first half on Talksport 2. Arsenal 1-0 up. Ball is hoisted downfield into the Arsenal penalty area. The left-hand edge of it brought down by Chori. Somehow they want handball behind the goal. Free kick given, pushed by Chori. But they want handball against Hincapié, who went down in a real tangle. Oh, and Chori wants to have his say, and Hincapié and Gabriel are getting involved. Gabriel standing up for his teammate. You could understand that. Getting in between the two of them, and now Trossard and Norgard are coming across. I did say that he's got an edge to him, Chori, and he just barged into Hincapié there. What did you make of all of that, Scott Minto?
I don't think he has sort of barged into him, really. And I think Hincapié fell to the floor, and the ball just kind of fell onto his arm. So I don't think it was a foul from Chori, but I also don't think it was an intentional handball from Hincapié. One thing I would say is that Chori went into him, showing exactly what he said happened, not with his arm. And Hincapié went back, and if I was Hincapié, I'd listen to Gabriel and say get away, because he's about a foot taller than him, isn't he?
Oh, nothing has come of any of that. Well, he's about a foot taller than just about everybody, isn't he, Chori? As David Raya pumps the ball downfield, and there's the half-time whistle, and it's Arsenal who lead 1-0. Bukayo Saka's penalty, controversial perhaps, just over half an hour in after handball given against Provard. There was a VAR check, and Saka drilled the penalty into the bottom corner, left-footed. Very good spot kick, and that all that Arsenal needed, really. Scott Minto, they are in front, and deservedly so, I think, on balance.
Do you know what? That's a really good question. I think over the whole of the 45 minutes, Arsenal have showed in the last 25, maybe 30, that they were the better side. I say 30 because there were 5 minutes of injury time, but the first 20 minutes, it was all Slavia Prague. The only thing I'd say about the home side is that they weren't able to even have a shot on target, let alone get that first goal. If they had done, things would have been pretty different, but they didn't, and that's a sign of a good side when they're under pressure away from home, not playing particularly well. They still not only don't concede, but don't concede any proper chances. So then they stepped it up as we thought they would, and it was a controversial moment to turn around the goal. But I do think in the last 25 minutes they've been by far and away the better side, and they've had enough corners to score more than one.
Well, it was a corner that led to the only goal of the game so far, and Arsenal a goal to the good in Prague. Slavia Prague 0, Arsenal 1. This game is brought to you in partnership with TNT Sports, the home of European football.
Champions League live on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Here for it. Book now at enterprise.co.uk.
When's the perfect moment to take that leap? With electric vehicles, that moment is now. The all-electric Leap Motor T03. Right now, with the Leap Grant, it's incredible value at 169 deposit and 169 per month with 0% APR, with amazing tech and spec too. Leap Motor. It's time to leap. Search Leap Motor T03. Personal contract purchase, mint green, T03, 48 months, optional final payment 5675. Leap Motor is credit broker, not in lender, subject to status. T's and C's still out as financial services.
With super-fast USB-C sockets from BG Electrical, everything gets a lot faster, including this advert. Here we go. Only joking. If you're an electrician or looking to update your sockets, superfast USB-C sockets give your power-hungry devices a head start. With integrated USB-C and A charging ports, you don't just charge, you supercharge. Visit bgelectrical.uk to find out more.
In 2024, a hangry fan posted, "Why do other countries have better McDonald's menus than ours?" So, we went abroad and heisted some worldwide favourites. The World Menu Heist. 9 of the most wanted McDonald's menu items from around the world. Now in the UK. Until 25th of November from 11 a.m. Fees apply to delivery orders. Price and participation may vary, subject to availability.
Some brands sponsor athletes for the glory, but not Quaker. We're real food. So we sponsor Team GB for the real stuff, the ugly stuff. The 5 a.m. alarms, the blisters, bruises, goggle marks, and mountains of sweaty laundry. Because we know that getting to greatness takes a delicious helping of ugliness. And my word, our porridge is ugly. Look at the state of it. Quaker. Deliciously real, deliciously ugly sponsor of Team GB.
With Sprint Delivery, you get your order in as little as 20 minutes. That's faster than some Mo Farah running downhill with a perfect tailwind. Screwfix, no stopping you.
Tonight's Euro Millions jackpot is £74 million.
I think that deserves a whoop whoop. Thank you, faraway person. Get in tonight's Euro Millions draw. Play on app.
Estimated jackpot. Account terms, rules and procedures apply. Players must be 18 or over.
Our Black Friday event is now on. So book a Jet2 holiday now and save £200 per couple. As always, you'll get 22 kilograms of baggage included too. Whether you want a last-minute escape or to get next year's holiday sorted, book with just a £60 deposit per person and secure your Black Friday saving now. Jet2 Holidays. Package holidays you can trust. After National Protected. Subject to availability and conditions.
Get unbeatable coverage of the business side of the beautiful game with Simon Jordan and Tesco Mobile for Business on Talksport. From Southampton to the North Stand, West Ham to Easter Road. Join the most well-connected man in football for an exclusive look inside the boardroom.
This is a long way from a done deal.
Simon Jordan's business briefing on Talksport with Tesco Mobile for Business. Small business or side hustle? Get business phone bills for up to 40% less than the big mobile networks. For terms and verification, visit tescomobile.com/business.
Talksport 2. Traffic and travel.
In Berkshire, the M4 westbound has two lanes shut after a collision. It's between junction 5 for Langley and junction 6 for Windsor. In Surrey, delays of an hour on the anti-clockwise M25. That's after a collision between Chertsey at junction 11 and junction 10 for the A3. And in Kent, the M2 coastbound is partially blocked after a collision, and that's happened just before junction 2 for Rochester, with queues back to Strood. I'm Adam Moore.
The stars come out to talk on Talksport and Talksport 2.
Please welcome Rob Bride on Talksport station. I'm always surprised at how much I enjoy it. And I go, this is great, isn't it? Look, he's got to sort out his back, isn't he? He's got to sort out the back row.
Massive names.
It's the superstar that is Usain Bolt.
When you score against a great keeper, it feels good.
Blue chip, gilt-edged, AAA rated opinions.
None other than Ronnie O'Sullivan, who is here in the studio with us.
When you read stuff back, you think, oh, did I really say that?
Massive games, massive names on Talksport and Talksport 2.
The passion, the pain, and the poetry of the beautiful game.
Overhead kick! Brilliant goal!
The Champions League live on Talksport 2.
Is it Arsenal's year for glory in the Champions League for the first time ever? It's been far too long for a club of their stature. Scooping into the box, Bukayo Saka is up there. So too is William Saliba. And then hit from the edge of the area, just wide. Gabriel with a fizzer of a half volley. Left-footed in, swinging into the near post. Gabriel with a header and it's wide. Deflected onto the roof of the net in the end. Referee's checking for a potential penalty.
Yep.
Gabriel with the header, and it does flick off the fingers of the man challenging him at the near post, Lucas Provo. Is that enough for a penalty though? The referee says it is! And here goes the captain, Bukayo Saka. Saka sticks it into the bottom corner. They'll take that. 1-0 up in Prague.
I mean, what more can we say about this guy? He's just sensational.
Yes, the Arsenal skipper, sensational Bukayo Saka, has given them the lead here in Prague. Slavia 0. Arsenal 1, Bukayo Saka with a penalty. This game is brought to you in partnership with TNT Sports, the home of European football. And we've got second half commentary with Scott and myself to come on Talksport 2. Tottenham against Copenhagen, don't forget, over on Talksport tonight. But here on 2, the live football continues. We will take you from Prague to the West Midlands for live championship action. Fascinating game ahead. Coventry, the league leaders, up against Sheffield United. And watching for us tonight, former Premier League winner with Leicester, Mark Albrighton, who's alongside Ian Danter. Good evening, Dance.
Good evening to you, Joe, and welcome to the Coventry Building Society Arena, which is a tad damp this evening. I think it's fair to say the wind is blowing in from the east, and it's going to give our broadcast equipment a real test to stay on the air this evening. Mark Albrighton's alongside me. There's a test for both managers here, actually, Mark. Forget about any problems we've got trying to keep ourselves dry here as we sit, because both managers are looking for a reaction. Sheffield United, I guess, Chris Wilder knows what he's let himself in for, but they followed back-to-back wins with back-to-back defeats. But for Coventry, having lost their first league game of the season, I don't know what that does to the psyche of a squad when they go into that next game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think from a Coventry point of view, first and foremost, I think Frank Lampard, he's played at the top. He knows the standards you need. He knows the way that you need to recover after a defeat. So he will know, and he said it in his pre-match programme notes as well, of how the standards dropped. They've been there all season and they dropped on Friday against Wrexham. So he won't let that happen again. He'll make sure that his team come out firing in front of their home fans against a struggling Sheffield United side. It's a great opportunity for them to get back on track. From a Sheffield United point of view, probably similar in some ways, but very different in other ways. I think Chris Wilder will know he'll be under no circumstances, even after they won them 2 games back to back. He knows that the corner wasn't turned then. He will know that. He'll know that there's a lot of hard work still to be done, and that's proved it with the last 2 results. So he'll come here knowing it's going to be a very, very difficult game. And I think, yeah, don't get me wrong, he'll want to see a result, but I think he'll want to see a reaction from his players in terms of their attitude, their mentality, and probably their ability to defend as well, which will be important, and it will get tested tonight.
Can joke about the weather as well from our perspective, but from the players' perspective, there's no need to water the pitch out there tonight. It's very greasy. We could see a mistake leading to goals here.
Yeah, we could, and obviously these conditions do test players, and it'll certainly test defenders. I think it's a striker's dream to play on a pitch like this, get your shots off, hit them, try and bounce them in front of the goalkeeper, because anything can happen. As immaculate as the pitch does look, the skid that will be on it tonight will probably play a part in tonight's game, and the players will have to make sure they've got the right footwear on for sure.
Well, we'll bring you team news shortly here from the Coventry Building Society Arena ahead of the 8 o'clock kickoff. Feel for us, Joe and Scott, as we sit here getting soaked. It is Coventry City against Sheffield United coming up.
Thank you very much, Dan. Well, I'm sure the game will be worth it. It's a big game. Coventry and Sheffield United on Talksport 2. Former Premier League winner with Leicester, Mark Albrighton, is going to be alongside Dance for live and exclusive national radio commentary over on Talksport this evening. As we've been saying, the focus again is the Champions League, and a big night for Tottenham and their manager Thomas Frank.
Caicedo down the middle, he squares it to Pedro, it's 1-0 to Chelsea.
Bergen 2, Spurs 2. It's Monaco 0, Tottenham Hotspur 0.
The XG, it was 0.05 today. I've never been in charge of the team that created that little in one game, never.
We've got to try and find a way of scoring some goals. I don't know what has happened. We never looked like scoring a goal.
Of course, they had such a brilliant start at home in the Champions League. And from there, it's just been a bit underwhelming.
This man needs time. Give Frank time.
Kudus comes back in on his left foot, draws the ball down low to the left, and produces a brilliant finish.
So I know, of course, Copenhagen is not in their best place, but it's a very good team. They have very good European experience.
And here Copenhagen will bring the ball forward with El Yunusi slipping a ball inside the area, getting the return ball and firing it into the bottom right-hand corner.
We love the Champions League on Talksport.
We do. Spurs against Copenhagen tonight on Talksport. They are unbeaten in the Champions League so far this season, but of course it has not prevented frustration for Tottenham fans. Booed off after the defeat to Chelsea against the weekend. You'll hear from Guglielmo Vicario in a moment, but let's hear again from the head coach in full, Thomas Frank.
Few fans, I guess we have quite a few fans out there, so I guess the one who write on social media. I'm not on social media. I'm very aware that we haven't been free-floating in some games. I think there's been definitely moments where it's been quite good. So something we work very hard on every single day. I think it's fair to say that every team I've managed, we've been able to score a lot of goals. Also a Brentford team with, how can you say, less on the paper, lesser players, creating a lot of top goal scorers, and convinced we'll do the same again here. I also think it's fair to say that we are working very hard on it. We are having players that do everything they can and it's my job together with the coaches to make sure they hit good relations and good structure and be confident.
Of course, we didn't perform at our best, and we lost against a London team, so probably seen in a different perspective. But I think we can change things quickly starting from tomorrow, because also our record in European competition playing at home is a big one, is a huge one. I don't remember how many finger crossed games have we didn't lose at home for, I don't know, 19, 18 if I don't get wrong. So we go tomorrow. We have a big opportunity to turn this track in another way. Tomorrow is the best chance to try to do it.
Good to hear from the Spurs goalkeeper Guglielmo Vicario. Thomas Frank before that. Furious reaction, Scott Minto, to the defeat to your former club Chelsea at the weekend from the home fans, and it is one of the games of the season for Tottenham. Can you understand the reaction?
Yes, I can. I think it was a really poor, not just result, because it's, for Chelsea Spurs is a massive game, but it's a really shocking performance where I think the players almost just completely lost confidence and lost thought of what to do. On the face of it, they're actually not doing that bad in either the Premier League or the Champions League, but actually the performances tell a different story. And if you are going to end up having a successful season, then the performances, if you're likely to have bad performances, then at some point the results will follow. So it is slightly worrying for Thomas Frank, but he does need time. This is a Spurs side that was conceding for fun last season, that finished 17th and just about nicked it, being the least worst team in the Europa League final. So give him time, and I'm sure he'll find a way for it to be a lot more positive. But they fans don't do that.
Well, we'll be at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium later on Talksport. We'll be at Coventry on Talksport 2. But the second half is about to get back underway here at the Eden Arena in Prague, where Arsenal lead by a 1-0, and Arsenal are said to become just the second team in English European Cup history to win their first 4 matches of a Champions League campaign without conceding. And Arsenal looking to do it for just the second time in their history. The last time they did it in 05-06, they went all the way through to the final. And the second half is about to kick off here on Talksport 2. Slavia Prague in their red and white. Arsenal in the change kit tonight, of course. All dark blue. Referee checks that everybody's in position. And the second half begins. No changes at half-time, so Raya, the Arsenal goalkeeper, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel and Hincapié are the Arsenal back 4. Waneri, Norgard and Rice in the middle. Saka and Trossard either side of Marino up front. The Arsenal bench, 2 goalkeepers, Setford and Rojas, Mosquera, White, Eza, Calafiori, Lewis Skelly, Sego Jr., Dowman and Harriman and Oos, as Arsenal scamper forward now with Declan Rice. Threads the ball wide left to Leandro Trossard in front of the Arsenal fans. Great ball, Marino, 2-0. Lovely goal for Arsenal. Mikel Marino had the freedom of the 6-yard box there. Not sure what Slavia Prague were thinking defensively, but Arsenal seem to be cruising now to yet another clean sheet, yet another victory, and more progression in the Champions League. It's surely going to be 4 wins from 4. Marino stepping up in the absence of Victor Gyökeres. Slavia Prague 0, Arsenal 2, less than a minute into the second half.
Well, I think he found it difficult in the first 20 minutes of the first half, but what a start to the second. And he's just found space. There's no one picking him up at all. Brilliant play from Trossard. He doesn't have to take on his fullback. Just whip it round him, put it in that corridor of uncertainty, and there's Marino. He's right in front of goal. It's a great first touch, giving the keeper no chance whatsoever. And after what was a very difficult start to the game in the first half, it's been an absolutely sensational start to the second.
Volleyed, left-footed, 2-0 to Arsenal. Cruise control. And Mikel Marino scoring his second Arsenal goal of the season. He's been in fabulous form this season in Spain and in terms of international matches, and obviously hasn't played as further forward for Arsenal as he did at points last season, particularly in the second half of last season. But it's 2-0 and many in the crowd had not yet resumed their seats for the second half. Slavia Prague 2-0 down, Markovic in goal, Vilcek, Chalupek and Zima the defenders, Moses, Zafiris, Shadilek and Mbodji, Provod, Chori and Sanyang. But surely this game is beyond the home team now, who are going to be without a win in their first 4 matches. They've won a throw close to the corner flag, and it will be another long throw here after Saka's intervention. Arsenal 2-0 to the good, and even for the home supporters here who've produced a fervent atmosphere, things feel like they've changed. And indeed, with that in mind, Slavia are going to make a substitution, probably not one that was intended, and it's the big frontman Chori who is limping off, and I think this could be an injury more than necessarily a tactical switch, and Moimir Chitil is his replacement. Well, as that change is being made, let's get team news from our Championship commentary tonight. Coventry against Sheffield United with Ian Danton.
Well, Coventry make 5 changes from that defeat to Wrexham that we brought you on Friday night, and 3 of the back 4 regulars all return. Van Ewijk from suspension, Thomas from injury and De Silva from illness, so Bidwell, Wolverhampton and Kessler-Hayden go out from the back. Torp and Eccles are also brought in for Mason Clark and Allen. As for Sheffield United, who lost 3-1 at home to Derby at the weekend, 2 changes. Jairo Riedewald once Crystal Palace comes in for Samari in midfield, and Tom Cannon replaces Andre Brooks further forward. So we're live straight after you, Joe, from 7:45 for Coventry City against Sheffield United.
Thank you, Dan. Looking forward to that. Really intriguing game in the Championship. And no change to the scoreline here. Arsenal lead 2-0 in Prague against Slavia. Mikel Merino tucked away the second very nicely, but there was no Slavia defender within a metre or 2 of him. So Slavia have made a change, and whether it's tactical or not, Chitil for Chori, would surely be on them this game, Scott Minter.
Yeah, you would think so. I mean, I don't think it is tactical. It looked like he was limping. I mean, when the number came up, I'm thinking, really? You know, if there's one player, and actually there's probably 2 or 3 in that first half, but certainly Chori was one of the players that was giving the Arsenal defence a few problems, even just for his physicality. So I was surprised to see his number come up, but as he was walking off the bench, walking off the pitch, then he was definitely limping. So I think he's got something. So second goal early in the second half, one of their major threats coming off. You're 2-0 up, you're the Arsenal, got to see this out.
Hincapié, little back heel out on the left. It's taken a big deflection and out of play to Trossard, who's in good form of late. Leandro Trossard, who perhaps has had to be in good form given all the competition for places now at Arsenal, and that coupled with the fact that in attacking areas they've got quite a few injuries.
Yeah, I also think by getting that second goal, and he won't do it immediately, but probably somewhere between the 60th and the 70th minute, if it stays 2-0, then definitely if it's 3-0, it gives him the chance to not have players playing the full 90 minutes. Probably won't make loads and loads of changes immediately, but as I say, it's so far so good. And then there's just Sunderland really before the international break, which will be a difficult place to go. Sunderland have started really well. They are good at home, you know, even though they only drew against Everton on Monday night. But just the travelling that Arsenal would have had from Prague, coming back, the lack of sleep. If you can rest a few players and make sure they don't play the full 90 minutes, then that will definitely help for the weekend's game.
It'll be Sunderland and then Spurs after the international break for Arsenal. Tottenham against Copenhagen tonight on Talksport 2. Coventry Sheffield United on Talksport 2. Tottenham Copenhagen over on Talksport. And then the Sports Bar will take your calls on Talksport from 10 03717 223344 Arsenal fans to speak to Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy. You can lord it over both of them as Arsenal's excellent run continues. And make sure you download our app to be across all of the action, particularly over the Christmas period. Terrible back pass, looping for Slavia Prague, headed away by the goalkeeper, only as far as Norgard, who tried to control it and then maybe thought about lobbing the keeper, but he was blocked off. Now they counter-attack to Slavia down the right with Moses, yellow boots on, infield to Provod. Provod 25 yards out, right corner of the penalty area, low ball in. Sanyang, can he sort his feet out and shoot? Back to Zafiris, his effort is charged down. And Arsenal keep their proud clean sheet record for now. 7 minutes into the second half, 2-0 up. A reminder that maybe the game isn't quite over just yet, Scott Minter.
Yeah, but it was charged down in the box by Bukayo Saka. So, you know, your right winger is coming back, helping out, and making a challenge like that inside your own box. It's brilliant defensive play from a very much an attacking player. It shows the mentality of an Arteta side.
No, Provod managing to find Sanyang and just couldn't quite get the shot away himself. But Saka, you're absolutely right, in the way of Zafiris. Such a strong mentality about this Arsenal side, such a great togetherness about them. 2-0 they lead. This game is brought to you in partnership with TNT Sports, the home of European football. Corner to Slavia at the home end. They're all on their feet behind the goal. Delivered into the near post, little flick by Vilcek. Jumping is Mbodji, takes another swing at it. Arsenal smuggle it away, and they've won a free kick here. Was there a handball, perhaps, the referee is saying? There was a handball right in front of the referee. It bounced off the hand of Zima. Again, not sure he knew a lot about that, really, and whether it was unnatural position, given he was being jostled by two Arsenal players, Scott.
That wasn't an unnatural position, and it couldn't be argued. So, just because it hits your arm, it doesn't matter to say it's handball, and I think that's the way that these officials, and I include VAR in that, are working tonight. But to Arsenal's favour, so from an English point of view, we should be happy.
But you are right. I mean, objectively speaking, it is not a handball at all, that really, and interpretation of the rules seems to be a bit different, because I don't think that would be a free kick in the Premier League.
No, I think that one for sure not. I even think the penalty itself was harsh, but they can argue to the letter of the law that because the hand was up, they could at least argue. I would argue, well, it's not an unnatural position, but they would argue it is, and therefore you just go with whatever you think. And their mindset clearly is, if your arm anywhere up in the air, then it's going to be a penalty or a free kick if it hits it. I think that's harsh, really.
Raya clears downfield up to the midway point of opposition territory, where the ball is swiped at, hacked away by Christos Zafiris, the number 10 with the long sleeve shirt on. A little chillier in Prague. The enthusiasm of some of the home fans has dampened as this game has gone on. There were some Slavia fans with red and white wigs, curly hair, but they're not feeling as excited now as Marino, the Arsenal goal scorer. The score of the second goal goes to ground. Saka's penalty the first. Nothing given but a free kick. A goal kick, rather. And Arsenal know that they have the option of Marino, even with all the injuries and attacking areas that they've got. So when Gyökeres was confirmed injured, it was probably quite easy for Mikel Arteta to just say, yep.
Yeah, I agree. It's easy for him to say, right, he's the next one in. But, we have seen, as good a player as he is, that he's not really a centre-forward, and he can do a job for a period of time. Remember, what was it, the Leicester game where he scored 2 goals, but actually over a period of time he didn't quite score enough, which is the reason why they were saying they want someone to come in, and with Havertz especially, but also Jesus injured also. Don't want these players out for too long, because that is very, very important. These players making sure that they are fit and not relying too much on everyone else to score.
Good interception sliding in by Norgard for Arsenal. 10 yards shy of halfway, and a little dink up to Marino, who for the second time in the space of 30 seconds actually loses the ball. Sanyang raiding down the near side to left for Slavia Prague. Early pass across the face of the edge of the penalty area. Chitil lays it back to the feet of Zafiris. Arsenal with so many back behind the ball so quickly. Sanyang trying to take on Timber in a one-on-one, and Timber doesn't do enough to concede the free kick, or does he? Maybe the referee has given it. I thought initially he'd pointed just to say, get up, get on with it, it's a throw. Mikel Arteta is fuming on the near side touchline, and they have got a free kick again, belatedly there.
Yeah, and look, Arsenal are pretty much in control of this situation. But the moment that Slavia Prague can somehow find a goal, everything just turns around. They're just one goal behind, one mistake behind. The crowd suddenly, get that feeling of euphoria back. So Arsenal just need to game manage really well. I mean, they are one of the very best at it, but that's another reason to say we've got to be doing that for the next 10-15 minutes.
Oh, in minute number 57 at the moment, Slavia Prague 0, Arsenal 2. Beneath the floodlights, Zafirius whips in the free kick high to the back post, and it's bounced off Saliba last. He's adamant that it should be a goal kick, but corner's given. Hincapié got a touch on it as well. And well, if Slavia were to get a goal back here, it would certainly make things interesting, and Arsenal's proud record of not conceding for such a long time would finally be over. Corner to Slavia Prague. It'll be whipped in swinging, left-footed by Shadilek. Oh, he slipped and the ball's ballooned high to the edge of the box. One of the strangest corners I've ever seen. Header by Timber. Still not away actually yet by Arsenal. Timber twice had to nod it clear, and now Saka eventually scoops the ball with his right foot up to halfway. Well, he sliced that miles high, did Shadilek. Very unfortunate.
I would have laughed if there'd have been a goal off the back of that and suddenly the set-piece coach comes out as if he played a part in it.
Well, they often take the credit, don't they, these days?
He literally slipped and it didn't even make the 18-yard box, did it?
Easy for Arsenal. They've not been at their best tonight. Timber ball up towards the inside right, Bukayo Saka, but Arsenal lead 2-0, and that says everything really about where they are as a team at the moment.
I think we've been saying that a few times this season already, and I think we'll say it a few more, but again, it's all about winning football matches. Mikel Arteta doesn't care whether they're playing scintillating football or not. Win the games, crack on, win trophies.
They've got levels that they can get to. Norgard to Rice, midway inside opposition territory. Out on his left is Gabriel in a forward position. Now making an in-field run is Hincapié, but Arsenal have to go back to the centre circle again, where standing is Saliba. Square ball to the absolutely peerless Declan Rice. I mean, he must be one of the best players in his position in the world at the moment.
Well, he's got to be up there with, people talk about Caicedo and obviously Rodri.
Oh, Trossard nearly looked like he was going to get through there. Gabriel's ball high up the middle, but it's cleared away by Slavia Prague. Quickly won back by Rice again for Arsenal. That's a lovely ball up the inside right for Bukayo Saka. Early shot saved by the goalkeeper. What a sweeping pass from halfway, that by Rice. Curving through the air, left to right, inside right for Saka. Difficult effort on his right foot, and it bobbled into the gloves of the keeper.
He's evolving all the time, isn't he, Declan Rice? You know, first of all, he's this holding midfield player that just protects the back foot. There's so much more to his game than that now.
2-0 Arsenal. Great ball in towards Chitil, who went down in the box under the challenge of Gabriel. Nothing given by the referee, and Raya actually wanted to start a quick counter, had to slow it down in the end. An hour played on Talksport 2. Coventry against Sheffield United, full commentary to come. And that will be followed by the Sports Bar over on Talksport tonight. Commentary of Tottenham against Copenhagen in the Champions League. More live European football on Wednesday and Thursday nights. 3 different commentaries for you. And this weekend in the Premier League, Tottenham, Man United and Chelsea, Scott's old club against Wolves.
I just want to go back to Declan Rice as well, and the game that he had against Burnley. And you know, people might say it's Burnley, it's still a Premier League game, but I think it shows that how evolved he is right now, and he's ever evolving. He really is. The most touches, the most passes played into the box, the most total crosses, total carry distance, tackles, interceptions, duels won, possession won. All of those first. You know, not just against Burnley, but his own teammates as well, which again shows the rounded player that he has become. And you know, he's still a human being, Joe. People say, no, he doesn't score enough goals. Well, I mean, how many places can he be on the pitch at any given time? He's just a wonderful player that I thought was a brilliant player for West Ham, and he's getting even better. He's got better, but he's getting even better. And as I say, he's just an incredible professional as well, and a brilliant buy even at 100 million.
Oh, good turn by Hincapié. Low ball in from the dead ball line is sent high up into the air by the defender, David Zima. A little cooler now in Prague. Temperatures dropping to about 7 degrees tonight. Saliba gets in front of the quite lively Chitil, who started at the weekend for Slavia Prague in their victory over Ostrava to send them back top of the first league in Czechia. Although Arsenal have protected David Raya very well, he's not had a meaningful save to make in the 62 minutes that have been played. Slavia win it back high up the pitch. Moses, the wing-back, looks to get in behind, but he's shrugged aside by Saliba. Shepherds the ball out of play. And that will be a goal kick. And indeed, Ebere Eze is getting some final instructions from Mikel Arteta as he prepares to come on a night where, again, we speak about Arsenal not being at their best, Scott. 59% possession, 13 shots to 7, 7 on target to none for the home team. 2 big chances, 2 goals.
Well, that says it all. The fact that you've gone away from home in the Champions League, albeit against a side that, you know, isn't great at this level, but actually is top at the moment in their own league, and yet they haven't even had a shot on target.
Well, they have had a couple of good results, including a draw at Atalanta, Slavia Prague, but never beaten Arsenal. Timber surges up the middle for Arsenal. He's got the run of Trossard ahead of him. Trossard left edge of the penalty area, seemed to dally in terms of what to do. Do I shoot, do I pass, or do I dummy it? And in the end he did none of those really, and Slavia were able to smuggle it away.
I think he tried all of those and didn't do any.
You could see at various little microseconds they all went through his head. Trossard from the edge of the D, better and more decisive this time as he angles it wide right to Saka. Saka in an attacking position, looking to dart down into the dead ball line to the penalty area, pulls it back right-footed. It's hit Marino and scrambled away via deflection by Mbodji. It's going to be kept in play anyway by Saliba. Midway into the Slavia Prague half, if Arsenal get a third, it really is game over. Timber up the middle, beyond one challenge of a player in red and white, but not beyond the sliding tackle of Shadilek. And Slavia win it back. Here is Provod just shy of halfway for them. Reverse ball up the inside right, nobody's there. Moses nowhere near it. Arsenal have it back, and it is difficult to see any other outcome by yet another Arsenal victory and yet another clean sheet, equaling a club record.
Yeah, I mean, it's what Arsenal do. That's just a perfect example where Provod thinks he can actually try and break the line and maybe create an opportunity, but suddenly he's got 2 Arsenal players around him and he's trying to force something that's just not there. And Capia gets in the right position and Arsenal have the ball again.
Saka's infield pass with his left foot to Norgard, and they've got runners forward here in the shape of Rice. Norgard's ball up the middle was overhit, gathered by the goalkeeper Markovic in bright yellow. A little sloppy Arsenal coming forward there. Certainly had a numerical advantage with Rice darting upfield. It was a 4-on-3 situation for Arsenal, but they couldn't make anything of it as Gabriel is penalised for a shove on the back of the head of Chitil and a free kick to the home team. But Arsenal still with a comfortable advantage. 20 minutes into the second half, and they make their change with Eze coming onto the field in place of Ethan Nwaneri, who was on a yellow card. And the boyhood Arsenal fan features for them again in the Champions League.
Yeah, he's a player I've liked since his Queen's Park Rangers days.
Yeah.
Great talent, was out wide first of all, came inside. He's one of those where can you rely on him enough to dominate games? Well, I think the last few years of his career has shown he can absolutely do that. And if anything, that's an upgrade of a substitution.
Along by Zafirius from the free kick for Slavia. Back to goal is Chitil, who is causing Arsenal a slightly greater problem maybe than Chori did in the first half. Chori, who seemed to be content with getting into scraps and trying to get the attention of the referee more than anything else, but it has bobbled out of play for a goal kick to Arsenal, and Raya in green takes his time. He's told by the referee to carry on with it. And certainly there'll be no Arsenal complaints whatsoever if this form continues, but Raya nearly gives it away. That was sloppy from the goalkeeper, took too long with his clearance, which was charged down by the onrushing Provod. Raya a bit lucky there that it bounced right back into his gloves.
Yeah. It's sloppy play, isn't it? When you 2-0 up, you're in complete control. The last thing you need is your goalkeeper to be giving away a goal, and then suddenly everything changes. So stay on it. As I say, it's not often you get a substitution and the team gets better. I think that's what's happened with Eze. But I wouldn't be surprised if within the next sort of 65 to 75 there's another couple of substitutes as well. Again, I think it's really important. As Trossard's down, don't come away with any injuries. Get the win. If you can, get the clean sheet. Absolutely, if you can, don't come away with any injuries.
What is the issue for Trossard here? Could it be a thigh problem or perhaps even a hamstring problem? Arsenal, who've had issues, of course, in the forward positions with injuries that have represented really just the only disappointing parts of their season up to this point. Trossard is back up to his feet, which is good to see, and he's going to try and run this off. But as you say, Scott, surely not long before he comes off, even if it's as a precaution. Last quarter of the game, Slavia Prague 0, Arsenal 2 on Talksport 2. Very comfortable really for Arsenal, it looks like being. Urian Timber inside right, further wide is Saka. Saka led with the edge of the penalty area, infield against Mbodji. Back square to Timber again, middle of the Slavia Prague half. It's with Declan Rice to clip a high ball up towards Marino. Oh, he's beaten the goalkeeper to it! He's headed it in for 3! Another fantastic night in the Champions League for Arsenal, and a poacher's goal for Marino. He nodded it out of the hands of the goalkeeper almost, but just in time. And the Arsenal fans dance the night away in Prague. It's usually Arsenal's case for the defence that is their biggest strength, but they have scored 3 tonight, and they lead by 3-0. It's easy street for Arsenal now.
Yeah, and it's a ball in from Declan Rice. He's found space. He's kind of just looped it in from an inside left position, very inside, pretty much central. And the keeper's come out, and it's, instead of trying to punch or catch with his hands in the air, he's trying to catch it. How would you describe it? Like bringing it into his chest.
He's tried to clutch it into his chest, yeah.
And Marino, look, he's pretty tall, but he's got a really good leap on him, and that is a really brave header because he's over one defender that's taller than him, and the keeper's coming out as well. So first of all, the bravery, and then the direction. And the keeper, instead of bringing it to his chest, he's got to just punch it out and shout and scream as loud as possible to almost try and scare Marino. But it's been a great night for him, and a night that Gyökeres is injured and Marino's stepping in, that is some response to anyone say that he can't play that position.
Well, it's at once a big mistake from the goalkeeper, but equally a brilliant effort from somebody who's very good in the air. And it's 3-0 to Arsenal. Marino's on a hat-trick, and that is going to be that. It's just a question now of whether Arsenal can keep that 8th straight clean sheet or whether they can get more. A yellow card out of the pocket of the referee here for Zafiris, climbing all over the back of Marino.
I think Arteta's got to make substitutions here now. 3-0, yeah, of course you want to keep the clean sheet if possible, but making sure there's no injuries is the most important thing. I mean, you know who I want to come on.
Max Daumann, I'm sure.
Absolutely. I want to see him, and look, we saw Trossard go down, but he's more of a left-footed right winger. I'd take Saka off, protect him, wrap him in cotton wool. He's absolutely fine. Move on now to the Sunderland game. Bring Max Daumann on, bring other players on. Maybe you want to, just because Marino doesn't always play, keep him on, but Harriman and Oos can feel like he won a bit more first-team football like he had last week. There's enough there to still, even if they do concede, to not come away with anything other than 3 points. So the biggest thing for me now is making sure there are no major injuries, or any injuries.
Well, Ofko Vilcek and Zafiris for Slavia Prague. On in their places, David Dudera and Mohamed Chan, who is on loan at the club from Trabzonspor. Arsenal 3-0 up in Prague. 20 minutes plus any added time to go, and Mikel Arteta, I think, is readying changes on this near side touchline. Arsenal in search of more goals. Saka, was he shoved in the area by Mbodji? No foul given by the referee. Mbodji, I think it was probably a fair challenge, a 50-50 one certainly, as Arsenal look to regain possession away on the left-hand side. It's touched forward by Nkapie, who was caught by Moses. And Moses has stayed down with Nkapie, maybe as part of an attempt to make sure that he doesn't get a yellow card, but surely he'll be booked by the referee.
I don't know what he's trying to claim, as if he's been caught in the face there. It was a definite foul. I think he has a little bit. To be fair to him, I think he's tried to stop, slipped over, but you can't just run into someone like that. And Nkapie has seen it coming, just turned his body. Not in any way has he intentionally got his arm out there, but I think he's just caught him a little bit.
Well, here he is, another landmark moment in the very young career of the young man. Max Daumann, at the age of 15, makes his Champions League debut for Arsenal Football Club, and this remarkable unfolding story continues at a pace for Arsenal. It is just extraordinary, and who knows what this young man is going to be able to achieve over the course of what doubtless is going to be an extraordinary career. Daumann on at the age of 15 for his Champions League debut. He's replaced Trossard, who has already gone off, and Hincapié and Timber also being replaced. Here come Lewis Skelly and White for Arsenal.
Absolutely. He needs to make these substitutions, make sure that these players coming off, as the body tires, as you've been at it 100%, you've got yourself into a 3-0 lead. Now it's about game management. So you're kind of slowing down a little bit and making sure, as I say, you do manage the game. And then if you have to go for a sprint, there's very much a danger of a hamstring or a bad tackle. So yeah, I'm not surprised to see those substitutions at all. And Max Daumann, I mean, honestly, what a wonder kid he is. I don't really like 15-year-olds being played, because I think it's not like, even if you're 16 or certainly 17, you're not quite emotionally ready for it, and certainly not physically, and yet this kid seems to just blow all that out the water. He's almost like a Lamine Yamal in many ways. To think he's 15 and still a good few years off Yamal. I mean, obviously he's still got a lot to do to try and achieve what he's done, but I think the talent is there for sure, and I'm looking forward to seeing him play, albeit for the last 17 plus minutes that's left of this game.
Well, off comes David Moses. It's a real shame, because he certainly came off worse after that challenge with Hincapié. Scott Minto absolutely right. He actually slipped as he went in with the challenge. They brought the stretcher out, but at least he is going to be able to walk off the pitch, which is good to see, though he's got a nasty cut to his cheekbone, I think, just below the eye. Sanyang coming off as well, and here come Daiki Hashioka, the former Luton player you might remember. He suffered back-to-back relegations with them. And Vasil Kuse is the number 9. And he's got an excellent scoring record since joining the club. Maybe one or two are surprised that he didn't start the game tonight from a Slavia Prague perspective, but after all those stoppages and substitutions, we've got 16 minutes plus added time to go. 3-0 to Arsenal. Now, might we see some very special history if Max Daumann can... We know that he's on. Can he become Arsenal's youngest ever goal scorer in the process?
Yeah, and it's interesting but not surprising that Saka's gone to the left and Daumann is in the right. That's his best position. Saka, obviously, the experience that he's got, can play, albeit, you know, his best position is on the right, but he could handle it on the left for sure. And Max Daumann comfortable coming inside. I mean, I thought he was brilliant last week. I really did. I loved watching him play. Hopefully they get the ball out to him as much as possible.
Norgard booked for a 50-50 tackle on Shadilek. Norgard just lunging for it and catches his man.
Don't see it.
Although he gets caught as well.
Sorry,
confusing, some of the decisions by the referee tonight.
He gets caught and he's won the ball, and yet he's the one who's got a yellow card for it.
Well,
he can't believe
make
it.
sense of that. There have been some strange decisions, no doubt about it. Talksport 2, 3-0 to Arsenal, with Coventry City against Sheffield United, the league leaders against the strugglers in the Championship, coming next for you on Talksport 2. So stay with us tonight. Tottenham against Copenhagen will be on Talksport. Free kick to Slavia, whose fans are holding up the red and white scarves high above their heads and trying to provide a bit of extra support to their beleaguered team. Kuse in the centre circle has knocked the ball out wide, and it's in the possession of Provod, who scoops the high ball forward straight out of play. And they really have faded very disappointingly tonight, Slavia Prague. They started with great intent, and it looked as though it might be a difficult night for Arsenal, but ever since Arsenal took the lead, it's been very, very straightforward for them, Scott Minto. There's been no threat to them at all.
A big decision, wasn't it, to turn it around from VAR to make it a penalty, and once Arsenal went 1-0 up, yeah, it seemed to just completely deflate not just the Slavia Prague players, but the crowd as well. As I say, the first 20 minutes it was all Slavia Prague, the last 25 plus minutes was all Arsenal, and then 2-0 so soon after half time at the start of the second half, it was game over.
Silky footwork from Daumann, who's just barged over by Mohamed Cham, made no attempt to get to the ball whatsoever, just knocked him over from behind, and clear foul right in front of the dugout.
It's just
silky skill.
I look at him play, and it's like he's playing with his mates in the playground. You know, he's just rolled his foot over the ball,
bit of five-a-side,
waited to get the tackle in, and then got fouled. It's just incredible to think that he's 15 and he's playing not just men's football but Champions League football. Incredible.
Well, that goal is going to come sooner rather than later, isn't it? It's a matter of when, not if. Rice for Arsenal, inside right, wide to Dowman on the near side, back in field with the left-footed pass, space for Lewis Skelly to roll it into the feet of Dowman again, fouled on the corner of the penalty area this time by Mbodji. Another free kick for Arsenal. Dowman gets to his feet, the youngest ever starter for Arsenal, and he was in from the start against Brighton in the League Cup. 15 years, 302 days old, and a few days later, now in the Champions League.
Well, they definitely know all about him, Slavia Prague, especially Mbodji. I mean, he is not letting, once he takes that touch, says, I don't care what you're going to try and do, but your body isn't going to come past me. And that's where the only thing I worry for Max Dowman, I worry about his mentality, and I don't know enough, but I've heard he's got good people around him, both at the club and his family, but it's just those physical challenges that can come in. He's got to make sure that he doesn't sort of suck players in so much that at one point one of those tackles is going to give him a serious injury.
They're waiting for the signal from Nicolas Javert, the Arsenal players. Free kick about 5 yards from the right-hand corner of the penalty area. Everybody back for the home team. Saka whips it in high, and it's way over hit for once. Delivery really poor. That's one bounce, and it's already gone behind, actually.
He's rubbish, isn't he?
They can't do these set pieces. Foul by Lewis Skelly on Shadilek. Yellow card for Lewis Skelly. Shadilek rolling around on the ground. I don't know why. 3-0, 78 minutes gone. The game's done, unless he genuinely was caught by Lewis Skelly. Well, he's caught, but does he need to roll on the floor, Scott Minto?
No, but you have to put your arms up when you try and head the ball,
natural,
when you jump.
Isn't it?
And both players did it, so you want to give a foul, okay, but it's not a yellow card.
Well, he is booked, Lewis Skelly, and the free kick comes to nothing anyway. And Slavia look for Mbodji, and it's gone behind. There's a cynicism in all of modern football these days in terms of how players approach challenges like that, and maybe it's good that some things that wouldn't have been given, Scott, when you were playing are given now, but I don't think that's even a free kick, really.
The referee's got to understand the game. It's as simple as that. Things happen, players maybe try and take advantage. I certainly wouldn't say cheat in that moment. I'm not saying he didn't get caught, but there is contact
the over-exaggeration.
in football. There is contact in football. Doesn't mean it's a foul.
Dowman over the halfway line for Arsenal, racing forward on the near side, the right. Defender comes across, tries to take him out, but Dowman's got there again. Kousé then has to nip in front of him to win it back, and he plays the ball off Dowman and out of play for a goal kick. It is as though, and he is going to have to face this, the 15-year-old. They are deliberately going for that physical approach, Scott.
They absolutely are. I mean, he had two players at him there, and he went past one. And one of them just was almost concentrating on him and his body rather than the ball. And he went past him that way, and then Kousé came across as well, and he was kind of concentrating more on the physical side of things rather than the ball. But in the end, he just did nudge him off the ball. They know about it for sure.
Well, Declan Rice is going off now, but what a fabulous moment for Andre Harriman-Anous, the 17-year-old who made his senior debut in the League Cup against Brighton, and his second senior appearance is in the Champions League. He did really well, the young man, and was unlucky not to score on his debut in the build-up to the second Arsenal goal last week.
Was it his last touch before he got taken off? He had a chance.
It was.
Keeper came out, made a really good save. What a last touch that would have been.
He's not necessarily a number 9, is he? He's more a sort of roaming forward player, seems to work the channels.
Yeah, I wonder if he's almost, that type of, maybe a sort of a Havertz type or a Firmino type where, you're not your typical number 9. You start there, but you're more than happy to drop in, and then other players go in behind you.
The first touch for Harriman-Anous. Looks like he really wants the ball back to Lewis Skelly. 3-0 to Arsenal on Talksport 2. And Arsenal away at Sunderland on Saturday, which won't be an easy game. Picked up a draw with Everton yesterday, despite not playing well, Sunderland. It says a lot that, in terms of how they've adapted to the Premier League, that they were disappointed with the home draw against Everton, live on Talksport as it was.
It does, but you look at this Arsenal side, and even though Sunderland at home is a difficult proposition and has been already this season for many teams, you do get the feeling that this Arsenal side will find a way. And as I say, going into the November international break, Liverpool playing City, what a great opportunity to extend their lead at the top even more.
Can you see them being beaten by anyone at the moment?
No, not at the moment, but I do think they will be beaten. Obviously, Arsenal know all about being invincible, but I still think there's going to be a game where they will be off it a little bit. They will lose, I'd say, no more than 2. But the way they are at the moment, I don't see anyone beating them.
Well, it's just the one defeat so far this season at Anfield against Liverpool. And a significantly low number of goals conceded, just 3. 3 in all competitions.
Yeah, it took that one absolute scorcher of a strike, didn't it, from Szoboszlai to beat them. I think really a draw probably was a fair result. But yes, I'm not going to be invincible this season, but it's not about that. It's about winning the title. Look, they've never won the Champions League before, and each Arsenal fan will have their own opinion, but if I were an Arsenal player, I think to show against this Man City side under Pep Guardiola and the way that Liverpool are the current champions at the moment, to win your own Premier League over such a long season, I think that would be my number one priority, and then try and go for the Champions League next season.
Dudera has been booked for dissent, the substitute. Cheetil racing into the box for Slavia Prague. He's been held up by the dead ball line, but they do get the cross into the area towards Provod, who spins, turns, shoots, and penalty given by the referee. Well, Arsenal's clean sheet run might well be under great threat now. Provod spun, turned and shot. Is it for a foul or is it for a handball? Either way, the referee was in a good position to see it. Arsenal protest. No sign that he's being sent to the monitor just yet. Mikel Arteta looks furious. Gabriel saying it's not a penalty. Saka now having words with the referee. But at the moment, Slavia Prague will get a spot kick.
Yeah, I mean, Saka's asking, what was it for? Was it handball? Was it a foul? I'm sure the referee's telling him that.
Oh, it's a handball by Provod, if anything.
Yeah, but that's what Saka clearly is saying.
High boot, Ben White.
No, it's a high boot, but Provod has got his boot really high as well. Both have got their boot as high as each other. And because Ben White's actually got there first and the ball's then gone on to Provod, he's gone down because he knows that he's actually holding the back of his foot as he goes down as well, because he clashes into Norgard.
Well, it can't be a penalty then if they're both at it, surely.
I don't think so. But it absolutely can be, because he can turn around, the referee can turn around and say Ben White's foot shouldn't be as high as that. But sorry, Provod was doing exactly the same. He was swivelling, trying to volley himself. Ben White goes higher than him and gets the ball. And there is a VAR
checking it. Arsenal are going to see the referee sent to the monitor here. Well, maybe it will be overturned.
I think it should be overturned. I hope it is overturned, because how can you give a penalty where both players are going for the ball? Yes, it's shoulder high, and yes, Ben White is slightly higher, but that means that he wins the ball.
Does Ben White actually make any contact with Provod, or is it he gets to the ball and sends it into Provod, who then goes down? So there's no contact with Provod.
Ben White's foot is higher, which is why I think it looks like it's worse. But he's the one who makes contact with the ball, and it's Provod who kicks Ben White's leg and then goes down.
This should not be a penalty. What's he going to do, the referee? He's turned away from the pitch side monitor. What will be the decision? He's just having a word with Provod, the captain. He'll have a word with Saka too. Provod looks concerned. I think this is probably going to be ruled out. No penalty. And Arsenal's clean sheet record stays intact.
Correct decision. I'm not 100% sure with the VAR decision for 1-0. I am 100% sure about that. Look, I kind of do understand in the sort of quickness of the game, the way it's turned, the ball bounced up and Ben White's foot was higher, but when you look at it in the cold light of day, it's an absolutely spot-on decision to overturn it.
The VAR has worked well tonight. And
for Arsenal?
Well, yes. But I mean, objectively speaking, that is never a penalty.
No.
We've got the luxury of the monitors, and before he goes to look at the monitor, the referee hasn't got that. So you can see why maybe from his angle, behind the play, and I think somebody was in front of him, he'd given it, but now the ball is lost. Ben White is having to take it away from a camera tripod. 3 minutes left. I think the Arsenal players, this clean sheet club record, which they'd equal tonight, set in 1903, if they keep the clean sheet, I think it really matters to them, this. Slowing the game down where they can.
Well, it's definitely something to be proud of. And when you think about the original 1-0 to the Arsenal with George Graham and the brilliant back four, back five that they had, and they weren't able to match it, I think it's a great achievement. Look, there's no trophies or medals handed out for it. Well done. It's about what happens at the end of the season, but these are all steps towards that.
Another step perhaps towards the final in Budapest, about to be taken over the long Champions League campaign. Arsenal's next game is against Bayern Munich. Headed down by Norgard to the feet of Marino, sweeping ball to Saka, back to goal. Saka backwards to Lewis Skelly, just inside opposition territory. 2 minutes to go, plus added time. Saka tangled with Hashioka. Free kick to Arsenal. A lot of stoppages in this second half. Actually, it'll be interesting to see how much is added on. There could be quite a bit. Goalless between Napoli and Frankfurt into added time there in the other game in the Champions League that kicked off at 5:45. Stay with us on Talksport 2. We'll take you to Coventry Sheffield United as soon as we are done here. Ian Danter and the former Premier League winner Mark Albrighton are ready to go for commentary of that one in the Championship. Hashioka clears off the back of Saka. Throw to Slavia Prague. There's no coming back for Slavia Prague tonight. And Norgard has won it back out the pitch, and it could drop to Harriman Anusi. Couldn't quite get there. Zima nipped it in front of him to clear. Harriman Anusi still trying to put the pressure on. Slavia go back to goalkeeper Markovic, whose error for the third ended this game as a contest. But it was an unorthodox, if very clever header from Marino, nipping, almost, as I said, to head it out of the goalkeeper's hands. It was quick enough that it wasn't literally out of his hands, but he looked as though he was going to catch it, and Marino just nipped in ahead of him.
Well, he should have caught it. He should have caught it with his hands.
Or punched it even.
Or punched it. Don't bring it into your chest. And Mikel Merino, first of all, really brave. Second of all, great strength, because he had the centre half, don't forget, all over him as well. Third, to direct it, to knowing that the keeper would be coming out. He may well have had a shout, he may not. And I thought it was just a brilliant header. And, you know, what another great addition to Arsenal Football Club someone like he is.
Just the 5 added minutes in the end here at the Eden Arena. It does feel like there have been stoppages worth more added time than that, but maybe the scoreline being taken into account by the officials. 3-0 Arsenal. Marino goes down, no free kick on halfway. Slavia go backwards to Shadilek, and now Cham. They looked very positive in the opening minutes, but seemed to just completely stop doing that the moment Arsenal got a bit of a foothold, Scott Minter.
Yeah, it's what Arsenal do to you, Joe. It's why they are where they are. They're such a good side, and we were saying about how Slavia Prague on top, they have to score. Arsenal won't continue to be under this amount of pressure. At some point they will turn it around, and look, they turned it around before the goal itself. I thought they were starting to dominate more in the game. They had a lot more corners. This is just a really good Arsenal side that's so well oiled, so well organised. Not the most aesthetic on the eye, but it absolutely doesn't matter one jot. It's about winning football matches and getting step by step by step closer to winning major trophies.
A minute through the 5 added, and Bodji for Slavia with a looping left-footed cross. It's so easy that for Ryan to take. Catching practice for any goalkeeper. High above his head, unchallenged, all in green. And David Raya set to keep his 7th clean sheet in a row. Just had to double check that. Part of this run that Arsenal have been on, this amazing run of clean sheets as it is. It's out of play for an Arsenal throw on the halfway line. 2 through the 5 added now, and it's very nearly all over here. It is over as a contest. And it looks as though Arsenal have avoided any injuries as well on the field. There was that slight issue for Trossard, maybe, Scott, but by and large, it looks like they've got through unscathed, which is another important factor.
It's massive. It's absolutely massive. Yes, of course, you want to win football matches, but you can't afford to have whatever squad you got. Lots of key players out. We've already got a few. What a squad they do have. So yes, they've won the game. They've kept the clean sheet. But actually, more important than the clean sheet is no major injuries.
Mikel Arteta, very ponderous on the near side touchline. He really does kick every ball. As the ball is cleared long by Markovic, empty seats starting to appear at the Eden Arena in Prague now. Lewis Skelly, just over 2 minutes of added time remain on Talksport 2, and they really nearly are there, Arsenal. And 4 wins from 4 in the Champions League it'll be. And always think, don't we, how many points does it get to automatically qualify? And they've given themselves a fabulous chance now. They've got Bayern Munich, Club Brugge, Inter and Kairat to come Arsenal. They'll surely go through automatically.
We still don't 100% know, do we? Because we've only had 1 year to look back at it, but around about 15, 16 points, something like that.
Yep, feels like it. Should be enough.
Win in the draw.
Win in a draw, and no doubt Arsenal, the way they're playing, will get more than that. Bayern Munich will be a very interesting test.
Yes, it will. But again, I don't want to say it doesn't matter completely, but look what happened when Arsenal played PSG. In those sort of group stages. They beat PSG pretty easily, so it's just about making sure you peak in the second part of the season. But if you can dominate the first half and really give yourself a gap, then that really does help so much.
Here's a chance for Slavia to cross with Provod, and it's sliced away by Saliba. Not a great clearance. It is going to bounce out of play for a corner. And the ultras behind the goal have got their shirts off. Slavia Prague ultras, not quite sure why. 45 seconds to go, but anyway.
Because they can. Although there was one younger lad that looked as if he was very, very
He's a
cold
bit chilly, I think, yeah. I think he regrets it now. Corner to Slavia right at the very end of the game. Arsenal just have to see this out realistically, and they do. Header clear at the near post by Harriman Anus. It's everybody, isn't it, behind the goal to the left-hand side, Scott?
It's almost the whole stand doing it.
Yeah, that's it. Well, modern football, there you are.
Great unity, for sure.
Header away by Gabriel for Arsenal. 5 seconds of added time to go, and the deflected effort from the edge of the penalty area by Mbodji is gathered by David Raya. And Mbodji gets to his feet. Referees looked at the watch. Yellow card for him. Saka not happy with what Mbodji's had to say and do. Can understand that.
I think that's Slavia Prague's first shot on target. And actually, it's a brilliant tackle from Gabriel that you and I, in the end, if we were in goal, we could have saved it. But that's their first shot on target.
And Mbodji retaliated to Gabriel for no reason at all. I think the referees had full control of this game at times, but ultimately, doesn't matter. David Raya will pump this ball long for Arsenal, high into the sky, and that is the full-time whistle on another historic night for Arsenal. They become just the second English team in the history of the European Cup and Champions League to win their first 4 matches in the season without conceding a goal. 4 wins from 4 for Arsenal. The last time they did that was in 2005-2006 when they went on to reach the final. The omens are good, and even more remarkably, an 8th successive clean sheet in all competitions. That equals a club record, last set in 1903. Credit to David Raya and the back 4, but Arsenal really are a team that defend from the front. Bukayo Saka's penalty, a double from Mikel Merino. Slavia Prague 0, Arsenal 3. And let's now pick our man of the match with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
The Here For It hero on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever it is, we're here for it.
And Scott Minto, who's your man of the match tonight?
Do you know what? I'm really pleased for Arsenal. They won the game. They kept the clean sheet. They're 100% records in Europe so far. Max Dowman came on, got more minutes on the pitch. Andre Harriman and Ouse as well. But I think it's one of those where no one's really sort of stood out. It's all been a 7.5 out of 10. But how can you not give it to Mikel Merino when he scored 2 goals? He's come in to replace Gyökeres, shown that he can do a job. He's come away with 2 of the 3 goals as well. So yeah, I'm going to give it to Mikel Merino.
For a moment there, I thought you were going to give it to a Slavia Prague player. That's our man of the match from Scott Minto. Here For It hero with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.